Hi, my name is Kyle Angrandis. Welcome to Salute Your Shorts Film Festival. I am the director, creator of Fraser Syndrome and Me that played in Salute Your Shorts 2019. And I've won runner-up documentary, which is amazing. But we are not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about the amazing creators of Loopy. I would love you guys to introduce yourself and say your title.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So my name is Anthony Peduzzi. I was a co-writer, co-director, and a bunch of stuff behind the scenes on Loopy.
My name is Max Cianci. I was the co-writer, co-director, and actor of Loopy.
I got to see your quarantine project, so I made sure you guys could see our quarantine project in this household.
Beautiful.
We made sure this looked like we knew what we were doing. Yeah, no, it's a disaster everywhere else.
Yeah, it's all a mess behind there. So first off, amazing. I loved it. It encapsulates how I imagine we all feel at this moment, which I think is probably your point. Can you tell me about the process and how this film came to be?
Sure. So I think I was just out for a walk one day because Anthony and I have lived together for a while now, and it was like during quarantine. It just it was the same thing every day, and we would just go for walks separately or whatever, just to try to get some air. And there was a building not far from our apartment, and for some reason I walked up to it and I saw that window that's in the film, and it was just like, it looked just like what was in Loopy, where it was just like these bellowing curtains sucking in. And I was like, man, that would be really weird if I just saw myself. That would be the creepiest thing I could imagine right now in this moment. And so I started looking around at the building, and I was like, it's got a ton of character. It's got a ton of potential. Anthony and I had been in there before, and I knew what the inside looked like. And we hadn't done anything for a while. And I just had this feeling where I was like, this could be a really simple little thing that I feel like we could do. So I went back and talked to him, and it was funny. I walked in and I was like, Anthony, I feel like I have an idea for something, but I remember I was I felt like it was good, but I didn't want to say anything. I was like, let's go out on the porch and talk about it. And we did. And Anthony was like, huh. And then I was like, I don't know. I want to go back to that building. And he was like, I'll come. And then we went back and we'd locked it out. But
yeah, we were basically we walked around a little bit. It was literally just you being I saw a window that was kind of interesting. I'm like, wow, okay, cool. I'm all right, I'm in. We're not doing anything. So we went over and we're looking around and we're just kind of getting into the nitty gritty. It's what if it's a time loop thing? And then we're talking about that and the logic of it and all this different goofy kind of thoughts. And we were looking at shots of okay, maybe we could do this, 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 and this. And we're all right, cool. Let's start working on it. So then that night we just started grounding up a bunch of kitty litter for dirt. And then some
I have questions about that. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so we were doing that night, and then the next morning we started shooting. It was pretty quick.
Yeah, and that was another important part of it too. We knew we wanted to do the loop thing, and once we got up there, it was funny because we were talking about the loop, and what I had initially thought, Anthony started saying well, that wouldn't if Max 0 was up here and Max 1 was here, and we were just thinking oh crap, we gotta this has to make sense. These timelines have to, and it was the first time where it started as a simple thing, but it ended up where it's oh, these pieces do have to work together. But yeah, Anthony ended on it. It was when we were here at night, it was let's just do it tomorrow. There's no reason not to do it tomorrow. We're not doing anything. And I think that was the reason it got made, is because every decision was made on, well, we might as well just do it right now. We might as well just do it in the morning and keep doing it.
Yeah, because why not?
Right, exactly.
If you let it hold for too long, it's oh, things get busy. Do it now.
Exactly, yeah. You talk yourself out of it.
Yeah, and it was early April when it was especially here, very no one's outside, no one's doing anything. All that kind of stuff was going on. So it was just how many days can we just stare at each other on the couch before it's we either kill each other or ourselves. So we decided to okay, this will be a fun way to pass the time. And it kind of iterated and got more complicated from there.
So we just made a movie about killing each other.
Yeah, no, that's good. Therapeutic. I like that. So Max, are you used to being in your own films?
No, that was beyond like Snapchat stories. That was a big step forward for me. When I was younger and just like making YouTube videos and stuff, I really enjoyed it. But once I went to college, I realized, oh, there's a lot of people who can do this better than me, and I would work with them, and that's what made me want to be a director. But that was a really cool part of the process that definitely gave me much more of a respect for actors on camera, because I was reminded how much of a challenge it is, even whenever you don't have any dialogue.
He was in one of mine a while ago, and he was fine.
Yeah. I made a
Great.
mediocre debut.
Cameo appearance.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, you already told me how you found your location. Do you want to talk about the problems with the location later on, or?
I mean, we can get right into it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can get into it.
So it was like so we shot like off and on for like 2.5 days, like kind of it just started getting more and more complicated. So it started taking longer.
Yeah,
Like
how many days did it take?
It was like 2.5-ish,
Okay.
but like light days, like nothing crazy. But we were like the first day we got there, because it's this abandoned school in our neighborhood, and it's like locked up. Like how the lock falls off in the movies, like how it fell off and everyone.
Literally, I just shook it, and it was
it's
like,
like, oh, okay.
oh, we can go inside.
You're like, okay, cool. So like the first day we're like walking around, like shooting, like talking quietly and like stopping when we hear like a noise. And then by like the third day, we're like shooting the shots outside, and I'm like just yelling at him across the courtyard and stuff, and just like no care in the world. And then we were like setting up for this one shot, like it'd be really nice to have, just like him going to the door, like it'd be cool to get this. And we shot like a rehearsal of it, and then we just like hear like, hey, like what are you doing? And we're like, hello? And then all we hear is like something police. And it was like, oh, okay. So we walked outside, and there was like 7 police officers and a dog. And like we heard a disturbance, like of this whole thing.
And then like us.
Yeah,
and we walk out and we're like, and they're like, what are you doing? And I was like, I think I said like, oh, we're making a music video. I was like, I don't know why that was the most innocent thing I could think of, but yeah. And it's also important to note that the shot that we were getting was our Abbey. It was our second to last shot. So in my mind, the whole time that we're talking to the police, it's like, did we get it? Like, because I know we're not going to be able to come back to it. It was like, we really needed that.
Yeah. So they were just like, we came out looking dirty. They were kind of angry because it was hot.
Yeah, I'm like covered in dust.
Yeah, it was
like,
just gross. And they were just like, can we see your like IDs? And I left my wallet at home. It was the first time in my life I actually did. And I was like, I don't have it, but if someone wants to come with me, like I will give them my wallet. And there's like, these kids are not a threat. It's fine. Just go get your stuff and get out of here.
They immediately profiled us as like 2 dorks in abandoned buildings.
Yeah.
We were like, it's like we cleared it up, and like we were walking away, and it was just like, oh my gosh, we almost got arrested. Like, this is bad. And then Max was just like, did we get the shot? And I'm like, I think we got the shot, and it's in the movie. Like,
we did. That's the one in the movie. So,
perfect. Is there an outtake of you guys getting yelled at? Or?
No, there's not.
No.
Yeah, I would have loved that, but
you can hear a noise, but you can't like you don't know what's going on.
I legitimately had a professor say, if you get arrested, you get extra credit.
There you go.
So you would have gotten extra credit almost.
That's a good documentarian.
It's a good way to do it.
So, one, I have to ask about the kitty litter. You got to put that in your mouth? Like.
So no, as much as that would make a funnier story, I decided not to subject myself to that. We did ground up rice, brown sugar, and then I put some silver grease paint. So check back with me in about 15 years how that works out. But it really looked great. And we ground it up in Anthony's coffee ground grinder to get like the consistency right.
Yeah.
But
so you wouldn't guess that it's anything other than sand.
No. I mean, it's quick enough and it's dark enough in that shot that I feel like it sells it. But go ahead.
Yeah, we found some cement in the building, so we used some of that for some of the trails. Mm-hmm. But we really just had we have a cat, so we had a bunch of kitty litter sitting around. Yeah. So we ended up like the night before we were filming, like listening to music, getting a little wine drunk, and then just like grinding kitty litter with like pots and pans on cutting boards. Yeah. And we ended up like destroying one of them.
This is the one I was using, and we were like talking, and I was just like going ham, and I looked and I was like, oh, I was like, Anthony, that's on one of our pots.
My dying grandma gave me this pan.
That's gotta be like your little hidden Easter egg in all the rest of your movies now.
It should be, yeah. There's gonna be somebody making a little thing of ramen noodles in the broken pot.
Yeah, I think all your fans will follow it. So then during times like this, during COVID and all in quarantine, I very much find that creativity itself is a muscle and you need to work it, you need to stretch it. How important do you find like stretching that muscle to be, and was this helpful to you?
I feel like absolutely it was helpful. And I think you're exactly right in that it is a muscle like anything, where if you're into sports, you need to train, you know, like if you are into the arts, you need to go out and practice it and do it. And I think what this made me realize, and both of us realize, was this came from like a haphazard conversation where we just didn't let each other talk each other out of it. And that's when I realized, like, wow, this took front to back, like, you know, 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. Like, we could be doing this a lot more, you know, and it felt great. And it felt great to like sit outside at night and not be talking about projects we did a year ago, but projects we were working on that day, you know. So absolutely, it was like getting the dust off and realizing like, oh, we can do this, we can make this, and it isn't impossible.
Yeah, like a lot of the, like all of our other like work before this, like is usually like bigger crews and like locations and blah, blah, blah. And like, you know, going through a script and like making sure it's right. And then like how you're going to shoot it and light it and edit it and all this stuff. And like, this was exclusively like a case of like, what do we have right now? Like what is around us? Like we didn't have the right cards for the camera. So we couldn't shoot like 4K or whatever.
Yeah.
We shot like 1080s, like that's fine. Like whatever. We didn't have any lights. We just shot with whatever we had. And like, we had no one else with us. So like if there was like dust that had to fall and the camera had to do something, like I had to run around and instead of be acting the whole time. And like, it was just all this like cat and mouse game. And even with like post-production, like none of us are sound designers, but everything in the movie like was recorded afterwards and put in. And it was just like, how do we do this? Like, how does this work? And then just kind of like guesstimate.
Essentially, you guys kind of went back to film school. Like,
exactly.
It's exactly what I did in film school, where it's like, what do we have with what we have? And like, how can we make this idea work?
Yeah,
exactly. And it was cool to like have an idea that was like, it'd be really funny if a bunch of dust comes out of your mouth, you know, like it's like, you know, that's like the end of it. It's like, it would be really cool if like we can kind of sell this and like whatever. So then like you do kind of like, you flex all those muscles you like haven't flexed for a while, especially during that period. And it's like, wow, okay, we can like do this. And then it was super fun. Yep.
So do you guys have anything else in the works?
Well, I mean,
this question, by the way, hate it, but
it's a tough one. I think we both have started working on more like I don't want to speak for Anthony, but like commercial stuff, like stuff that we can try to make a little bit of money on while also like being creative with it. I try to write as much as I can. Like I shouldn't say that. I try to write when I can. And like, I've been trying to get into like comedy writing and stuff like that. But right now, to be honest, it's just a bunch of little pieces that I'm trying to find, like which one of these should I try to like take to the next thing and really spend a lot of time on. But that's for me.
Well, yeah, and you're also working on that Pepsi commercial, which is cool.
Yeah, just like that's like other jobs and whatnot. Like PA. I work as a set PA whenever I'm not doing like, you know, this Loopy stuff. So just like money making small projects.
Yeah, and we did a music video a while ago that's coming out. We have some other ones that like are in the works that we're trying to finish up. One that we shot like right whenever all this stuff happens. We got to kind of figure out how to finish it and that kind of stuff. And then it's like writing and like trying to kind of stay busy. But I do think that like this project specifically was the thing that was like, oh, okay, we should really like start like working on stuff, just like whatever it is, and just again try to like no pressure things, and that's usually where like cool stuff happens. More people have seen this than anything else we've ever made that we put way more thought into,
which is crazy.
So it's just like, okay, like that's good, let's keep running with just like the first thought, and like if it's bad then you can reiterate on it.
If it's fun, it works, you know?
Exactly.
All right, so my last question is nothing to do with your film, but it's my favorite question to ask other creative people. So what is the movie that made you want to make movies?
Oh, that's a good question.
Anthony?
Yeah.
Hard one.
So
that's a hard one.
I'll go quickly through this, but like for most of my life, like I wanted to do music or something else. Like movies were just kind of like I think the Ron Howard Grinch is like one of the best movies ever made. Like I love it. But in like late high school, like I started taking these like TV classes, like as a just kind of like a free period. And then I kind of learned like, oh, like, this is fun and like a thing that like I enjoy doing. And then my teacher was like, you know, keep doing it, like keep trying it. And then like one day he gave me like a copy of Magnolia to watch. And he's like, here, like, I think you'd like this movie. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. I was like over the weekend and I put it in Sunday night at like 10 o'clock. And, you know, I had to be at school. I almost said my call time at like 7 a.m. the next day. But I put it on. The movie's like 3 hours long. And you're just like whirlwind. But you're like, oh yeah, no, I get it now. Like I get it. And it's also like that idea of like someone being like, hey, like keep doing it. Also like check this out.
Yeah.
Like the dude at a record store kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I think for me, like it's a hard question to answer as like directly as
I'll pick
whatever.
the answer you're gonna give me.
But I would say like growing up, like my dad would like make a point to be like, okay, Max, like we're going to sit down and watch this movie. Like we're going to sit down and watch Apocalypse Now, or we're going to sit down and watch Pulp Fiction. And I think that's the idea that's like put into my mind where it was like, oh, these are an important thing. Like movies are an important storytelling medium that really made me take it seriously. And maybe I didn't know it then, but made me like, oh, I'm very interested in this. Like I'm just like, this feels different than anything else. But then like later on in life, as I was growing up, like, I don't know, the movie that comes to mind too is like one, Pulp Fiction. I love it. And I know that's like the biggest canned answer, but also like Fellowship of the Ring and like Peter Jackson in general, like it just compelled me to like make stuff. And another movie is like Bad Taste, which is Peter Jackson's first movie he did. And it's just like, if you watch it, it's just like him and his friends coming together to make this crazy, weird, funny movie. But you watch it and you're like, this is crazy and it's bombastic, but like it's so accessible. You know, you can tell it's just a bunch of people who just love doing this thing. They just want to keep doing it. And that was the movie that really made me fall in love with like, I want to like live filmmaking. I want that to be a huge part of my life. And I want to keep doing that with my friends and like build that little circus group that I can just like keep making these weird little projects with. So that would be my long-winded answer.
No, I loved it. It was perfect. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me in this impromptu Q&A thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would, on behalf of Salute Your Shorts, thank you for submitting your film.
Of course.
And just to end this, I think we're going to give a little salute to the camera and then just...
Oh, great.
I love it. Right. We're doing right hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we doing it all together or
Yeah,
what's
let's
the
do it
plan?
all together.
Okay.
On 3. 1, 2, 3.